Hey everyone, it's me from my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today's question is, will coronavirus come back in 2025? Let's go ahead and get right into this question. So again, the question we're addressing today is, will coronavirus come back in 2025? Now, it looks like this question came about because of an article that was posted on The Bright Side, which I actually found quite interesting. And in the article, they reference a professor of virology at a university. And he says that coronaviruses are transmitted by wild animals to humans every 2 or 3 years. He also went on to say that we can expect the next pandemic to come along in 10 years. Of course, there was a lot of fear surrounding these statements. But let's take a step back for a moment. Let's look at what he's saying. Is it really accurate? We know that coronaviruses are transmitted from wild animals to humans every few years. We have SARS, MERS, and now we have COVID-19. Each of these were transmitted from an animal source. However, each of them had different characteristics. In order for a virus to be classified as a coronavirus, it must be part of the coronavirus family. And within that family, there are different types. The type that we've been experiencing since 2019 is SARS-CoV-2. So here's my first point. Just because we experience a coronavirus every few years doesn't mean that it's going to be SARS-CoV-2 every few years. That's just not how it works. For example, people get the flu shot every year, yet we don't refer to the flu as the Spanish flu every year. And that's because the flu virus changes every year, and the vaccine is updated to match those changes. Coronaviruses, just like influenza viruses, have a mechanism to change over time. We call this mutation. And we can see evidence of this with the many variants of SARS-CoV-2 that have emerged since 2019. Delta and Omicron are 2 examples of variants that emerged as a result of mutations. So while it's true that we can expect new coronaviruses to emerge, it doesn't mean that SARS-CoV-2 is going to re-emerge. But what if SARS-CoV-2 does mutate? It's already mutated into variants like Delta and Omicron, right? Well, yes, but let's remember what happened with Delta and Omicron. They both actually emerged earlier in the pandemic, not later. And as the pandemic progressed, it seemed as though SARS-CoV-2 was becoming less severe. Delta and Omicron were more transmissible, but less severe than previous variants. So the trend was moving in the direction of less severe. If anything were to pop up that was more severe, it would be contrary to what we've been seeing up until this point. In addition to that, we have something else that could help us. We have immunity from prior infection, and we have vaccines. Now, you may have heard of immune evasion, where a virus changes enough that our immunity no longer recognizes it. And this is definitely something to consider with SARS-CoV-2. But even with immune evasion, we have other tools at our disposal. Even if a virus were to evade our current immunity, we have therapeutics that have been developed to treat COVID-19. And we also have the ability to update vaccines pretty quickly. So let's talk about vaccines for a minute. Since 2019, we've seen several different types of vaccines come out. In the beginning, we had the Moderna and Pfizer mRNA vaccines. Then we had Johnson & Johnson, which was a viral vector vaccine. And then we had others like Novavax, which was a protein subunit vaccine. So we've seen a variety of different types of vaccines. And with all of these vaccines, we learned a great deal about how to develop them and how to distribute them. So if we needed to roll one out quickly, we already know how to do it. So let's say that there was a pandemic in 2025. Let's say that it was caused by a coronavirus. Let's say that it was very transmissible. How long do you think it would take for us to get a vaccine developed? What about therapeutics? Well, according to the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, Dr. Fauci, it took 42 days to make the mRNA vaccine. Of course, this was during the height of the pandemic, and we were able to put a lot of resources towards developing that vaccine, but we've learned a lot since then. More recently, we saw that Australia was able to develop and roll out their own version of a COVID-19 vaccine in just 16 days. Now, they used an existing platform that had already been through clinical trials, but nonetheless, that's pretty quick. So let's say we needed to develop a vaccine for a new coronavirus. Let's be conservative and say it takes 30 days to develop a vaccine. How long do you think it would take for us to distribute that vaccine? Would you believe 3 months? How about 6 months? Well, in 2021, we were able to vaccinate about 75% of the population in just 8 months. And that was the first time ever that we've done anything like that. So we already know that we can move quickly when we need to. The point is, if there were to be a new coronavirus in 2025, we have a lot of things that we can use to fight it. We have the knowledge, we have the experience, we have the therapeutics, and most importantly, we have the platforms to quickly develop a vaccine. So I wouldn't necessarily worry that it would be like the beginning of the pandemic. We're much better prepared now than we were in 2020. So what do you think? Do you think that we'll see coronavirus come back in 2025? Or do you think that it's probably going to be something else? Let me know in the comments below. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel. I thank you for your support. I also want to say a special thank you to our supporters who have supported this channel through various platforms. If you're interested in supporting, check the links in the description below. Make sure to visit our website. You can find news and information there. Also, be sure to check out my online store. Until next time, stay safe and be well.